So today's video, I'm going to show you a yard that was a mess, had a lot of weeds in it. I'm going to actually show you the transformation in this video. Not just show you the transformation, I want to talk to you about the exact products I used, show you the yard, and show you why I did what I did, and of course show you what it's going to look like when we get finished. Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. Behind me is my Graham 400-gallon spray tank. If you need a spray rig for your business, go to grahamse.com or give those guys a call. Okay, so here's the situation. I get a call about a week ago, and this is one thing, just as a side note, that helps with having a website that ranks well on Google. If you need help with that, you can actually go to footbridgemedia.com, footbridgemedia.com. Go all the way down to the bottom of the homepage, and there's a link that says Lawn Care Life. That's the company that built my website for alabamalawnpros.com and handles my SEO, and I rank well on Google. If you go down the bottom of the page, there's an affiliate link, says Lawn Care Life, and it's $199 a month, and they'll build your website, do your SEO. If you don't use the link, it's $249 a month. So use the link, bottom of footbridgemedia.com. So I get that call the other day, and they say, hey, I'm local to the city I live in, and I have a little business and want to get a quote for weed control and fertilization. Well, that's exactly what I want somebody to call me. And I said, sure, that's no problem. Let me pull it up. So I use Yardbooks, my software. I pull it up on Yardbook, measure the area. I said, have you been working with a lawn care company before? He said, we skipped last year, but before that we did. So I'm thinking this is perfect. You know, he's missed 1 year of weed control. It's not gonna be that bad. So I'm able to measure it, give him a price. It's a fairly large property, I think 18,000 square feet, and he wants to go ahead and do it right then. Tell the customer over the phone, and then I go out there and look. I tell, hey, I do want to look at it, just make sure it doesn't look terrible, but I felt good about it. So anyway, go back out there the next day to spray it, look at it, and it's where I'm at right now. I'm standing on the property. So let me show you what it looks like and show you what I've done. So fairly large property in my city, and Bermuda grass almost exclusively, and just had a lot of broadleaf weeds. Now, why does it have all these broadleaf weeds? Well, again, he didn't do a fall pre-emergent or spring pre-emergent anything the year before, so he's going to have a lot of broadleaf weeds, as you can see walking through the yard. But that's no big deal at all, because he's got a nice stand of Bermuda grass, and these broadleaf weeds are going to be fairly easy to control. Now, what other weeds are we seeing in here besides just some broadleaf weeds? Well, a lot of dandelion, which is of course a broadleaf weed, but you do have some poa annua here. That's a grassy weed, annual grassy weed. It can be a little bit tough to control. You can see the big dandelions. And so what I did, I came out here Friday and went ahead and sprayed the lawn. I sprayed it in February. Actually, there's a little bit of broom sedge, looks like. I sprayed it about 5 days ago. I'm going to show you what I sprayed on the lawn and then talk to you about why I did that. Here's the combination I like to use when it is a dormant Bermuda grass lawn. I think early February is about ideal time for this in my area in Alabama. Now, you want to make sure the grass is dormant when you're doing this, and do it only on Bermuda grass lawns. So I use Resolute. This is prodiamine. This is my pre-emergent. So I want to get that down before the crabgrass germinates. So February is a great time in my area in the Birmingham, Alabama market. Then I put in 41% glyphosate. So this is the active ingredient that's in Roundup. And again, you only want to do this on dormant Bermuda grass. I use that at 32 ounces per acre. And then Manor, this is active ingredient metsulfuron, and it comes with a little tiny measuring cone. It's just a very small amount goes in here. So it's 1/4 of an ounce per acre, or maybe up to 1/3 of an ounce per acre. So again, 1/3 of an ounce per acre. So it's a very small amount that goes in the tank. It's going to be very hard to mix that in a little handheld sprayer, but easier to mix in larger quantities in my big Graham spray rig. So that's my combination. The Manor's great for broadleaf weeds, also really good for wild onions and wild garlic. The glyphosate is great for killing grassy weeds, broadleaf weeds. Not quite as good on the onions, but the Manor, that combination is going to get a lot of the weeds, the glyphosate and the Manor. And then my pre-emergent here is going to help get ahead of a lot of the warm season weeds that have not germinated yet. So when I've got a big ugly Bermuda yard, if it's thin Bermuda, thick Bermuda, whatever, and it's dormant and it needs fixed, this is the combination that I like to go with, these three products. One good thing is I don't have to add any surfactant, because typically your glyphosate products are already going to have surfactant mixed in with it, so no need to add an additional surfactant to this combination. So I came out here and sprayed. It's been about 5 days. You can see a little bit of wilting action already on some of the weeds, but I want to show you one more thing before we wrap up this portion of the video, and then we'll come back and check and show you how the property is improving. Now, as you know, when the weather is colder, hopefully you know this, if you don't, I'll tell you, as the weather's colder, the results are not as fast. So we've had cool temperatures this morning, it's like 32 degrees. So you're not gonna see these weeds wilt up overnight like you would maybe if it was in the 70s and 80s during the day and a lot warmer temperatures. But still, it's been 5 days and I can show you what they're starting to look like. So you can see some wilting action, depending on what weed it is, different one. I saw some of these small little tiny weeds that are starting to turn yellow and stuff. So I think if we get some warm days, there you go, there's a good example where you're getting some yellowing in some of the weeds. So it's gonna work. I have no doubt in my mind that this is gonna clean this property up, but just want to give it a little bit more time because it is cooler temperatures. Now, the one tricky thing about this property I was a little bit unsure of is I get over here on this side, it's a different situation. You got nice thick Bermuda over there, but you get over here, you've got not so nice thin Bermuda, and I can see some Bermuda right in here, but it also got some areas where it's just not a whole lot here. I mean, there is some Bermuda, there's a little bit of carpet grass, and you think, well, what are you going to do about this, Jason? Well, I went ahead and sprayed it with the same combination that I showed you before, because if there's a little bit of carpet grass, which there is in this, I think this is some carpet grass here, I'm okay killing that off, because basically in my mind it's a weed. I want the little bit of Bermuda here to start spreading and not to have to compete with the carpet grass. So you look here, this looks pretty sad on this side. I know there's shadows from the trees, but this is not lush Bermuda grass. This is not a whole lot going on here. So I want to get rid of what I can, and I want this little bit of Bermuda that is here to really be able to spread this summer. Now, it's challenging, it's got trees, a little bit of shade, it's not gonna look like the rest of the property, but I'm just telling you, I saw the carpet grass, but I want to get rid of it, so I went ahead and sprayed it. I don't know that with it being dormant like it is that the glyphosate's necessarily going to kill it, but it'll probably beat it up and hopefully get this Bermuda to fill in over the course of the summer. Let's give it some more time. I'll check back and see how the results are progressing. It's been about 3 weeks since I sprayed this property. Let me show you what it looks like today and tell you what I'm going to do today also. All right, here's what we got. And you remember all the weeds. Went in with the glyphosate and prodiamine, and you can see what's happening. It's got stuff like that. Now, you think, Jason, I thought it would just die overnight, you know, with the glyphosate application. No, when the weather's cooler, which it was in February when I sprayed it, it can be slow. Now, you want it, but the trick about that, glyphosate on a dormant Bermuda lawn, now I'm showing you this lawn in early March, and there's already green Bermuda grass in here. So that tells me a couple things. One, that's great. The glyphosate on the dormant Bermuda did not affect the Bermuda grass, at least not significantly. We still have got green Bermuda coming through. And the other thing is, I wouldn't want to do that same application now. I had that window of opportunity in January, February, where it's dormant. I can do that, but now that it's starting to turn green, again, you can see all the green Bermuda grass there. I wouldn't do the same application today. I would not put the glyphosate in there. So, really happy with the results. You can kind of see much different looking property than we saw a few weeks ago. And as the grass starts to be cut, then you're just gonna see that Bermuda starting to fill in. You got green grass coming in, these dead weeds. I've had people say, Jason, do you have to go out there and pull the dead weeds out of the grass? Well, no, I mean, you don't have to do that. So these weeds will decompose over time. So I'm definitely not gonna go rake up the dead weeds. But just wanted to show you the results that we got. And one thing I want to look at is the carpet grass situation over here. Remember, there was some carpet grass on the one side. I want to see how that's looking. And this grass was thin. Remember what we were talking about is hopefully this thin Bermuda grass can fill in and I'm spraying glyphosate on carpet grass, which is not ideal for the carpet grass, but I'm okay if it beats it up, and hopefully the Bermuda will fill. And again, these trees are going to be a little bit of a challenge. So anyway, it's thin over here, but I do see the Bermuda. See lots of weeds dying, even the poa turning yellow there. So that's a good thing to see. And we just got to get some warm weather and see how this place will transform over the summer. So let me show you what I'm doing today. Okay, I got my ride-on spreader sprayer here, and I'm putting out fertilizer. So we're getting close to spring, and I buy from Harold's, and this is not the fertilizer. Got two different bags on here. I'm gonna be using this 3808 blend. Now this is a polymer coated fertilizer, slow release. So the good thing about it, I can put this out, and basically it's not gonna release a lot of nutrients until the weather starts warming up. So I wouldn't go buy a bag of quick release fertilizer and put on this grass. I think you're gonna be wasting a lot of the nutrients before the grass is ready to use it. But the advantage of this Polyon, which is what it's called, I can put it out now, and it will release as the weather warms. You might say, Jason, why don't you just wait until the weather warms? Well, I want to put it out now because when the weather's warming up, I want to go back and do another weed control application. So it's just allowing me to manipulate the timing of my schedule. The fertilizer will be there. It'll start releasing as the nutrients are needed in the lawn, and then I can do my weed control application when I need to do that. So let's put some fertilizer in the hopper, put the fertilizer out. I'll come back in let's say late April, probably do another weed control application, and then I'll fertilize one more time probably in late May, early June, and we should be looking good for the rest of the year. All right, got the fertilizer down. All right, it's springtime. There's still weeds in this yard. I'm tired of playing around. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do today. Let's show you what it's looking like, explain to you why it looks the way it does, and then I'm about to put the hammer down. We're gonna come back and show you a great looking lawn. All right, so I pulled up. To be honest with you, a little bit disappointed. We're getting some green color with the Bermuda, but still a lot of broadleaf weeds in this yard. I think a lot of weeds germinate in the springtime, no fall pre-emergent, and even spraying this yard with glyphosate knocked out a lot of things, but you still end up with some of these tough weeds like the yellow wood sorrel, and anyway, way too many weeds, but that's why we do multiple applications. I think this is gonna be the one that puts this thing in the condition it needs to be in as far as weed control goes, and no looking back. Hopefully it'll never look this bad again under my watch. So in the springtime, what I'm doing, I'm spraying Spectacle Flow, which is a pre-emergent, help with some of the summer weeds. And then to knock these out, I'm going with Metsofuron and change up a couple products I use a lot. This combination is great. I'm gonna spray it. We'll check back soon. By the time we check back again, there should be some good color from the fertilizer we put out last time, and we could show you a more finished product. Let's get started. All right, I did get it sprayed. With the warm temperatures, we've been up in the 80s. I think we'll see radical results within a week or two. Most of this broadleaf stuff will die. I did see some nut sage popping up, still some broom sage. That'll be the stuff we'll be battling during the summer. But as far as the overall transformation, I think we'll get the vast majority of it. This place should look significantly different a few weeks from now as the Bermuda continues to green up and the weeds continue to die out. Showing you the whole process. It doesn't always go exactly according to plan, but I also thought it was interesting to see on this video. You can see I sprayed glyphosate on this yard in January, and look at all the weeds that are here. So it's not like, oh, I just spray it and it's done forever. You got to get this yard cleaned up, and then when I get on the regular schedule, it should be fine. I don't expect nothing like this moving forward, but there's a lot of American burnweed stuff in here. A lot of that comes from not having to fall pre-emergent. And just because you spray a pre-emergent in January with glyphosate doesn't mean there's no weeds. So I think this is actually a good lesson for us, but I'm feeling extra confident moving forward, so we'll check back soon. Well, back again, want to show you what the results look like. I think we've experienced the transformation I was hoping for. I'm not saying this yard's reached its peak potential, but I think where it's at right now compared to where it was at the beginning of the video is drastic, and I'm glad because I was able to show you exactly what I did to the yard. So let's take a look at it. We're now into early May. And you remember I was just here a few weeks ago, and it didn't look as good, okay? So what happened last time, I came out and I sprayed it with change up metsulfuron. You still see it's not perfect, okay? There's still, looks like broom sedge right there. You got some other sedges starting to pop. I say other sedge, broom sedge is actually not a sedge. But look at what happened, because last time we were still dealing with a lot of weeds. And so the clover's dying out. The poa annua is finally going away, not necessarily from anything I did. The heat's getting it, and hopefully next year I can keep it from coming back. And you can see all this stuff, all the brown, a lot of the brown in here is the weeds dying, which I'm really glad to see, because it was a little tougher than I thought. But you see, I mean, and the other thing is we fertilized it. We're starting to get the warmer weather up in the 80s, getting some green color. The color should continue to improve, but we're getting some pretty decent color through this yard already, even into early May. We've had some rain. You're gonna get the nut sedge popping up, and that'll be something I can deal with later. But overall, I think we finally got this thing turned around, where I'm not saying I was embarrassed to put my sign in the yard. I mean, there's the sign, okay? But when I put it out here last time, I was putting out here based on what I thought this yard would look like soon versus what it looked like when I put it in the ground. And so I'm happy. This is a commercial business, and they called me and their yard was a mess. And so what can we learn here? Well, I wanted to show you a couple things. One, you saw I sprayed glyphosate on this yard early in the year, and look at it now. It's green as can be. So that was a success. Now don't just only try that on dormant Bermuda grass. You saw by spraying glyphosate, though, we still had tons of weeds in the spring. So I had to come back and hammer it again with the change up, the metsulfuron, and that was basically, as the weather warmed up, I did that, and that kind of put the weeds out of their misery. And you see now you're left with the tough weeds, the broom sedge, you got the nut sedge, stuff like that that's still going to show up. But essentially we got a yard now that we can be proud of. Yes, it can continue to make improvement. I think it will. But hopefully showing you the process and showing you transformation has been satisfying for you, like it has for me. I appreciate you watching. If you want to get in weed control and fertilization like me, go to lawncarelife.com. There's resources there like the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. There's also info on the 2025 Lawn Care Life Conference. People are already buying tickets for that. We got a VIP option this year. I had 3 people, I think last week, sign up for the VIP option on the 2025 Lawn Care Life Conference. I got a lot of videos out there. I appreciate the comments, the shares, the likes, and we'll see you guys in the next video.